Hello friends and welcome to my channel. My name is Victoria and I'm a writer and a professionally trained perfumer. In here I talk about books and perfumery and various topics that are dear to me. And today I'm going to talk about benzoin. It's really a fascinating material and it's quite important, though it sometimes feels like it's less known, and yet it's everywhere. And the city of Luang Prabang in Laos is really famous for its benzoin. In fact, the whole region is renowned. While the town itself is really a popular tourist destination for its beautiful architecture, it's really like beautiful, quaint atmosphere, and its splendid cuisine. But for me, I went there because of benzoin. And the whole area is home to hill tribes that cultivate benzoin according to very old methods and using rotation agriculture. And benzoin is tapped from the Styrax tonkinensis trees, and it looks like resin. In its raw form, it looks like caramel or like toffee. And it smells of vanilla and cinnamon. It has really a warm, beautiful scent. And the benzoin from Luang Prabang in particular has this beautiful stewed morello cherries undertone that just makes it smell just heavenly. It's one of those abstract gourmand scents. It's quite complex. It has woodiness, a bit of incense notes, just so layered and so beautiful. I find both in raw form and in distilled form, benzoin is just a gorgeous note. And it's really interesting to see how it's used in perfumery. And really, in perfumery, benzoin can be found all over the fragrance wheel, from colognes to orientals or ambers, as we call them today. And also in florals to play up different facets. And so I'll mention a few fragrances that are particularly interesting for me in terms of the use of benzoin. And of course, the first one is the Grande Dame Guerlain Shalimar. Shalimar uses vanilla, of course vanillin, and also benzoin to really play up the warm facet of the composition, to create these layers, almost like cashmere softness that beautifully offsets the bright peppery bergamot notes of the composition. And when you wear it, the oscillation between the cool and the warm is really inviting and alluring. And in partially, the beauty is, of course, of Shalimar can't be attributed just to benzoin, but the warmth, this kind of the powdery, delicate warmth of the composition really owes a lot to the accord of vanillin, ethyl vanillin, and benzoin, and also amber. Another fragrance that I really enjoy for its use of benzoin is Chanel Égoïste. And it's a warm, woody fragrance, and again, it has the softness that's attributed in part to benzoin, and that almost like stewed cherry accent, stewed plum accent that in Égoïste, and here I'm talking about the original Égoïste rather than Égoïste Platinum, which is much more of the fresh and bright kind of cologne-like fragrance. But the original Égoïste is really warm and dark and rich, and you can smell benzoin in it in the dry down. A modern fragrance that uses benzoin in a similar way to really create warm, sweet layers is Prada Candy. Although it's much more of a obvious gourmand perfume with lots of caramel and vanilla notes and all these sweet edible accents, benzoin plays a big role in the composition to create warmth and to tone down the sweetness of caramel and give a little spicy accent. And Prada Candy uses Luang Prabang benzoin in its composition, or at least the original version used to use. And I really recommend trying this fragrance and seeing how it develops both on paper and on skin, and to see whether you can spot the benzoin. It's really quite obvious, one of the really nice examples. Even if you do not like sweet fragrances, that composition is much recommended. Atelier Cologne Rose Anonyme Extrait uses benzoin in conjunction with rose for a rich accent, for a rich twist, to really play up the honeyed facets of rose and to create more of the ambery feel to the composition. It's a very interesting composition. It's not really a cologne like some of Atelier Cologne's offerings. It's much more of an ambery fragrance, ambery floral, and the beautiful pairing of rose and benzoin really works well. Prada Infusion d'Iris is another interesting composition that uses benzoin to play up. Again, I use this word a lot talking about benzoin because it really has that quality. It can accent different notes, and especially florals and soft notes, woody, rooty notes. And iris is not really a floral note, it's more of a woody green note. And in this fragrance, benzoin adds warmth, and the cinnamon spiciness really works well to tone down the green facets of iris and to create a really interesting depth to the composition. Another interesting iris example with benzoin is Serge Lutens Iris Silver Mist. And on the channel I talked a lot about this perfume already, but it's really a great example of iris and the way it can be rooty and woody and green, but also really quite complex with different facets. And here you have benzoin and also other woody notes to really layer the note to create more softness and more warmth, and to really augment the complexity of the whole accord. And finally, the fragrance that I would like to mention is Eris Parfums Mx. That fragrance is interesting because it uses benzoin in a slightly different way than the gourmand or the ambery or the floral compositions, woody compositions that I mentioned so far. It uses benzoin in conjunction with the Chypre accord, with moss and sandalwood and darker notes. And benzoin here again performs beautifully. It creates more facets, more accents, and really interesting twists. To me, it's really one of the appealing traits of this perfume is the way benzoin plays up the woody notes and the spicy notes in it. It's really such a pleasure to wear. You feel like you're enveloped in something warm, and yet it's not heavy. It's quite a luminous, beautiful perfume. So I would love to hear what fragrances with benzoin notes you enjoy, and if you have other notes that you would like me to talk about, please let me know in the comments. And thank you for watching. Have a great day.